What if everything you thought was true about your world was not exactly what you always thought it was? Today, I'm going to share with you a powerful perspective that will change your reality today, now. Yesterday, if you watched my video, you know I was knocked out of alignment and I was feeling really stuck and discouraged, and I had lost sight of this. This technique that I'm going to show you is how I lifted myself out of that. And I've already made major progress today just by making this mindset shift and reminding myself what's really real and what's not. And it might not be what you think. It's important to remember that those moments that feel really challenging, they don't last. It's not the truth of who you are. You just have to keep taking a step forward and have more fun with life. I remembered what I've known to be true for some time, and that is I've been shown that what I'm about to share with you is absolutely true, completely real. I've been shown this many different ways through hypnotherapy journeys, through different things that I've done with energy. We're actually living in a simulation. That is right. We're living in a simulation. I remembered that I'm living in a simulation. I'm living in an observatory world that is influenced by my thoughts and my emotions of what I actually experience in the world. So it really took away all of these negative thoughts that I was having because that was based on an untruth. All of these negative thoughts that I kept having was because I was choosing to focus on what could go wrong or what wasn't what I wanted it to be. I had too many expectations. And I thought, why am I letting something that seems negative, but isn't even really real in the way that my human thinks it is, control my experience and attract horrible, bad things I don't want? I want you to take everything that you've ever known and set that aside for just a moment and be willing to accept what I'm about to share and what I'm about to tell you as truth. And don't just take my word for it, but actually take it out into your life and look at things this way and see how quick your reality will change. The subconscious mind is a very powerful force, and this works on a very subconscious level. Anything you react to in a day, whether your human labels it as good or bad or right or wrong, is just energy. It's just consciousness. It's not negative or positive. It doesn't mean anything unless you label that as such and you act as if that reality is real or those things, the catastrophes that you're producing in your mind are real. That's when they actually do turn into that. How you observe and participate in your reality and what you believe to be true and how you react is what is planting the seeds for more of those things to happen or for you to start moving the needle in the other direction. Which would you like it to be? If you change what you're consenting to be true, and you know that you're in a simulation, you know that this reality is like a video game, you know that you can decide what it is that you actually do want. You start to create within the simulation. And since you know that even if something seems negative in your world, you can look at this as, okay, this is just energy. And I'm not going to give my power away to this. I'm not going to give my power away to the way circumstances seem outside of myself because I know I'm just in a simulation. This life is a video game. Things don't necessarily have to happen in the concrete linear way that the conscious thinking mind thinks they do. Why do you think hypnotherapy is so powerful? It's because it transcends that and it gets that conscious, limited, right or wrong, dualistic conscious mind out of the way. And then you tap into that infinite power of your subconscious. I had a wonderful friend years ago tell me that when he lived in New York City, he would always tell himself, none of this is real. None of this is real. No matter what would happen, none of this is real. And although that might seem like spiritual bypassing or like ignoring reality, all of these beautiful, amazing things started to happen in his life because he let go of resistance. He was no longer attached to expectations of what his world should be. It became really hard for him, and he just started saying, none of this is real. I'm not attached to the outcome. Because you see, when you change your perception from, oh my God, this is so serious, my life is effed, what am I going to do, to, oh, that's right, I'm just living in a simulation, then everything can shift because there's space that's created and that negative resistance is out of the way. That changes everything. You live in an observatory universe. What you focus on changes that thing. So you shift your entire energy, and the situation you're in, the whole energy of that changes as well because you've taken that resistance out. And now you know that the negative thing you can now see as something that's going to lead you to beautiful things that you're creating in your life. So, how do you stop reacting to all of these seemingly negative things that feel so real? Quantum physics shows us this, that nothing is real until you react to it being real. It's like that old if a tree falls in the forest, does it really fall if no one's there to watch it? If you are there to observe something as real and you agree that it's real, it's real. But because you are participating in that reality, that this is something really real and it's threatening me, then you create that timeline. If you absolutely 100% knew today you're living in a simulation and none of this was really real in the way you thought it was, would you still be dwelling on the exact things you don't want to happen? And we're only in these physical bodies for a limited amount of time. Life is precious. It doesn't make much sense to fight against reality. You think that everything is real and you're holding on to things as such, then you'll never be in the present moment because you'll always be dwelling on things in the past or that no longer, they don't exist. yes, those things happen, but they only exist when you put energy on them. That's water under the bridge. Or if you're caught up in the future, that's just a story. The only thing that all creation happens in is this now moment. And that's the only thing you have control over is your energy in this moment. The past and the future is an illusion. So you know that you're in this simulation. Now you have the power to say, I don't, I'm not even going to give energy to that thing anymore. Or I'm not even going to give energy to that thing I am afraid of happening. I'm going to align my energy with what I want to create. And I'm no longer going to give attention to any things that have happened in the past or these stories of I'm so wronged or the story of the future that I don't actually want. The more you lean into this, the less you are going to be reactive to things happening in your world because you know you're in a simulation and you know that if you do give energy to the past or the future that don't even exist, or you do give your attention to those things in your human perspective as a negative reality, then you know you're just going to create more of it. You can release everything now because you know you're in a simulation. You know that you are not attached to anything that happens, good or bad. You can set your sights on what it is that you actually do want. And then you aren't even attached to that even happening. If it happens, that's great. If it doesn't, then you know that that's in your highest and greatest good as well. That simulation is always going to give you whatever it is in your heart that you really desire. When you shift away from the physical way of seeing things and you're more in a spiritual way of seeing things, and you're in that energy of what you do want to experience, then you already have the prize because you will no longer be introducing that resistance to the equation. And that is when the things can actually happen and the things can actually shift because you see life in a more spiritual way. Your physical body is a manifestation of energetic blueprints, your energetic bodies. That's why, as energy workers, we can often find distortions in the energetic field weeks or months before it actually turns into something physical. Your energy creates what manifests in the physical. So if you know you're living in the simulation, you know that what you're reacting to is creating more of it. It's actually really, really simple. Actually, try this for a day. Just today, the rest of today, or if it's late at night when you're watching this, do it tomorrow. But you'll start to see as you see everything as a simulation, you can start to see that what you can do in this moment is huge. You have so much that's in your power in this moment. What if you already were that version of yourself who has it all figured out? You're no longer so bothered by having it figured out because you know that as long as you stay in that state of fulfillment, that sooner or later, you know you're going to get there. It's not even a question. So then these Moments that feel more misaligned are just showing you where you can bring love and where you can align with it more, with what the energy that you do want to experience. You're no longer going to be holding on to grudges or worrying about what other people think or being afraid of the unknown. This is a spiritually based simulation. So it's not about what makes logical sense. This is about what you focus your energy on. That's going to bring you more of it. Your inner world has to change before the physical world can change because there's a lag effect. What you're experiencing right now today is the vibrations that you pulsed out in the past leading up to this. And the divine is the only thing that can deliver things in that divine order and way. So you're making the inner shifts now, and that will create a more life giving reflection in due time. Everything that is figured out in divine order will come to you when it's the right time if you're in that frequency. But if you're focusing on what could go wrong and what is not the way you want it to be, and you're not focusing on the solution state, then you're just going to get more of that. So you can truly let go and realize that you literally came into this physical body for fun, to enjoy the experience and to enjoy all of the manifestations along the way. You came here to enjoy different flavors, different textures, and it's all enjoyed in your now. So you're observing everything in this more positive way. You're doing what you came here to do. It doesn't make so much sense to fight reality. In fact, not only does it introduce resistance to your now, blocking your enjoyment, blocking your power, but it also creates more of what you don't want. These things are wildly complex, like to the point that we're never going to know and understand these in a human way as long as we're in these human bodies. There's literally an infinite number of timeline possibilities and simulations that you can be on, that you can experience. But what happens is if you're not conscious to stay in these states, I also recommend that you listen to some meditations every morning or do something to get yourself in that state and dip into the divine well at least once a day or twice a day because that's going to recalibrate you. You become intentional in a detached way. This actually will dissolve all of those old realities that you are tied to, those old realities that you really don't want to create from, that you're unconsciously creating from. If you don't give your subconscious something to work with and new realities to connect with, then it's going to work off of all of those old things that you believe are real. But if you collapse the realness of those and they're irrelevant, then they dissolve and you no longer create from that. The whole point of a day is just to find new things that you do want to experience, that you do want to put into your simulation, and enjoying the deliciousness of the things that are in your now. You put yourself in that receiving mode by meditating, by listening to those suggestions, by taking care of yourself, eating healthy, exercising, aka feeling good. And then the simulation is going to pop out the highest expression for you because it's based on those frequencies. I was talking to a wonderful student last night. It's not always about what you thought in your head it should be. I actually don't use specific manifestation because the simulation might have something way better for me. And what I was talking to my student about is this: the expectations is what's getting me. Like yesterday, when I was in that state and I felt really stuck, it's because I made those expectations more important than how I was feeling. So when I had all of these remembrances today, everything shifted because it's no longer, that's not my reality. That disintegrated into nothingness. So don't limit yourself. Everything you want is for the feeling of it. Even if you get a fancy car or you get a really nice house, it's you do it for the feeling of it. So give yourself that feeling state first and foremost. And in due time, that creation will be complete as long as you keep focusing on that. And you will actually be living that pure positive energy state. As long as you continue to pull your focus back to that thing over and over again that you do want to experience, that's your only job. Some people don't get to where they want to be because they try to manipulate what's outside of them in the simulation. And you can't manipulate what's outside of you. Pretend that everything inside of your body and your mind and your consciousness is one universe and everything else is another. So stop giving a crap what's happening outside of you. All you can control is what's in here. And the simulation is going to formulate everything as long as you stay in that state and you just keep doing the next right thing. Just the thing that's in front of you to do to the best of your ability. You can only control the frequency and the feeling of what you want the hologram to pop out. Does that make sense? The best predictor of your future is how you feel now. Like if you know that you're crushing it towards a certain goal, you create expectancy for that. You expect the success in some way. So, really, your emotions and energy is your guidance system. That is how you know. Do you feel good or do you not feel good? If you don't feel good, that is your gauge pushing you back to where you need to refocus, where you need to bring more love, where you need to bring more pure positive energy. If you practice this, you will notice a reduction in stress. You will feel lighter. You will create more easily and effortlessly. I had to remind myself yesterday I had gotten pulled out of alignment with what I wanted to experience. And life will catch you off guard. But remember, like Julia Child said in the kitchen, if you drop the lamb, just pick it back up. So, what that means is if you stray from this, just pull yourself back in. The guilt and shame is not even real. That's these old realities. So bring it back to the reality of what you are creating emotionally and energetically in this very now moment. And if you fall off center, just pull yourself back in. So start saying thank you for everything. Everything that your human wants to say is good, bad, wrong, indifferent. And know that it's all leading you to this higher and greater good. No matter how you feel, no matter how screwed it seems. Thank you. Thank you. That is a recalibration into that state. It's affirming to your subconscious that everything's always working out for me. This is happening for me. And it removes resistance. You do this over and over again, you're no longer going to have those old programs standing in your way. It's all happening for you and it's aligning you with your higher frequency state. Eventually, this just becomes a working part of the mind. I was in that state for a long time until recently a bunch of things happened at once and it tricked my brain into thinking that this 3D reality and what's happening here was more real and more important than what's happening in here. And stay away from those who are too attached to the 3D reality. Don't share things with people who aren't going to understand what you're doing because it's easy for them to make statements that make you question yourself because they don't believe that's possible for themselves. You have the most power when you know your own power to create. Now, this doesn't mean that you don't still work hard or you don't still work towards your goals and just expect the universe to magically do it. It more just mobilizes you to actually do the things that you need to do without resistance and knowing it's just a simulation. You can pick any timeline possibility you want to go on to. It's actually you are just going through the motions. That's what your human does in a day to entertain yourself on the planet and keeping yourself in that energy and just think, yeah, this is what my human does throughout the day. My human is making this video right now. And as long as I'm doing it in this state of knowing that this isn't even really real, it's just that's going to reflect these things to me in due time. This changes you into an entirely different person. You already have high levels of health, so you act in a way that a healthy person does. When you go to the grocery store, you're going to buy healthier foods because that's who you are. You are this healthy person now. Give yourself that energy now. You already have high levels of success. So now you aren't afraid to take a chance or do the thing that is going to get you to that success because you're no longer overthinking it. You're letting your body take those actions and you're bypassing that logical thinking mind. You're in the energy of success, so you feel successful already. You already are successful. And then the success in 3D is just a natural byproduct of that. Start enjoying your life more. Start knowing that no matter what happens in your life, it's going to be good. It's going to lead you to that higher place. Feel the emotions you need to feel, and then bring yourself back to that place. You're going to actually live your life now. I think this is one of the most important things to remember, especially in this seemingly chaotic expression that we're experiencing right now in the world. It looks like total chaos, but you need to focus on the reality you want to create. So, like the video, comment if you feel called. Let me know what you think, how that landed. Subscribe if you'd like, and share this video with someone else who is a little too caught up in the 3D. And remember that your reality is within you. Talk soon.